The top stories tonight in Y News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. shares concerns over the aging population in the Southeast Asian region during the opening and plenary session of the 42nd Association of Southeast Asian Nations Summit. The Department of Justice seeks to cancel the passport of suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnolfo Teves Jr. in connection to the complaints he is facing in the Philippines. A House resolution filed in the House of Representatives seeking to investigate unauthorized GCash transactions and to investigate possible data breach. And the United States jury finds former President Donald Trump liable of sexual abuse and defamation. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Wednesday, the 10th of May, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am William Theo. First in the news. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. attended the opening and plenary session of the 42nd Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN Summit in Indonesia. The president made several recommendations to allow the ASEAN to achieve shared regional aspirations. Nel Maribojo reports.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. joined Southeast Asian leaders for the 42nd Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN Summit opening in Indonesia. During the plenary session, President Marcos expressed his concerns over the aging population in the Southeast Asian region. PBBM said these issues must be viewed as an opportunity and as a challenge, especially in terms of adequate social benefits on the one hand and social empowerment on the other. He said ASEAN goals and work plans should ensure health for elders, a safe and dignified and productive life. The president also brought up the need for the regional grouping to transition to renewable and alternative energy technologies, stressing the Philippines is doing its part in that regard. He called on his fellow ASEAN leaders to uphold international law and the international rules-based system to ensure peace, security, stability, and prosperity of our region. President Marcos said the Philippines as a staunch advocate of the protection of the rights and welfare of migrants. The chief executive also urged his fellow ASEAN leaders to boost trade and economic cooperation in the region. In a media interview before the start of ASEAN Summit, President Marcos said he will push for the finalization of the Code of Conduct in the South China Sea.
So yes, I'll bring it up again because when we talk about the issues in the West Philippine Sea, South China Sea, hindi magkakalma yan hanggang meron na tayong Code of Conduct.
Nel Maribojo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Around 50 to 60 Filipinos are still in Sudan amid the conflict, according to the Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA. Meanwhile, the DFA is actively seeking ways to provide financial assistance to the Filipinos who are still in the war-torn region. Janice Inhente will tell us why.
The Department of Foreign Affairs is actively reaching out to Filipinos who are still in conflict-torn Sudan. According to DFA Assistant Secretary for Migrant Workers Affairs, Paul Cortez, up to 60 Filipinos are still stuck in Sudan along with their employers and spouses. Cortez stated that they will attempt to communicate with the employers of overseas Filipino workers in the area to facilitate their evacuation.
Kanina lang may nakausap tayong isang kababayan na gustong umuwi na at nandun po siya sa employer nila. So ang gagawin po natin ay kakausapin po natin yung employer nila para pakawalan po sila. Siguro natatakot yung employer na pag pinakawalan baka kung anong mangyari sa kanila. But we will assure syempre itong mga employer natin na pag umalis na sila sa poder ng kanilang mga employer, cargo na po ng Philippine government, ng ating honorary consulate at ng embahada ng sa Cairo ang security at ang safety ng mga kababayan natin.
Meanwhile, the DFA official assured that aid will be sent to the Filipinos stuck in Sudan, noting that banks in the region were closed.
We'll try our best to reach out to these people. Kaya lang ang problema kasi natin with Sudan is sarado po yung banking system sila. So there's no way talaga na makabigay tayo ng tulong. In fact, di nga tayo makapasok sa Sudan. But we will find our way, perhaps through our honorary consulate, na magbigay ng ayuda sa kanila.
Apart from the 60 individuals still stranded, the DFA reports that 474 Filipinos have been repatriated so far, with several more batches scheduled to arrive in the country this week. Janice Enhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Justice will seek to cancel the passport of suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnulfo Teves Jr. Dante Amento tells us why.
Department of Justice or DOJ Secretary Crispin Boying Rimulya believes that if the passport of suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnulfo Teves Jr. will cancelled, his movement will be limited.
Siyempre, travel document. Then he will have to rely on another travel document that will allow him passage to ports of entry and exit throughout the world.
Hence, the DOJ is eyeing to cancel Teves' passport in connection to the complaints he is facing in the Philippines.
But effectively, the passports are cancelled when there is already a court case. So we will wait for the cases to be filed before our courts, by the prosecutors, by the panel of prosecutors, before we seek for the cancellation of the passport.
Rimulya added they may start processing the passport cancellation of Teves after filing complaints at the Fiscal's office. The cancellation will be effective when the case will reach the court. Meanwhile, Teves' lawyer, Attorney Ferdinand Topacio, said that there is no basis yet for the passport cancellation of his client as of this time. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
A House resolution has been filed in the House of Representatives seeking to investigate unauthorized GCash transactions. According to House Deputy Minority Leader and Bagong Generacion Party List Representative Bernadette Herrera, she filed House Bill Resolution 963 because she was not satisfied with the advisories and statements from the financial institutions involved. In a statement, Congresswoman Herrera said there are inconsistencies in the statements issued. Meanwhile, Gabriela Party List Representative Arlene Brosas is also considering filing a resolution for Congress to investigate the said issue. According to the lawmaker, GCash should be held accountable for the possible data breach. The Department of Budget and Management, or DBM, stressed the need to pursue quality citizen involvement and data ecosystem and information in promoting open government. According to DBM Secretary Amena Pangandaman, the agency should aim for transparency and reiterate the importance of access to information through data ecosystems. Pangandaman also said that these will help in formulating policies that will benefit the people. Meanwhile, DBM will also relaunch Project DIME, or Digital Imaging for Monitoring and Evaluation, that uses existing technologies and engages citizens through participatory monitoring.
Foreign news abroad. The United States jury has dealt a legal blow to the former U.S. President Donald Trump, who was found to have sexually assaulted journalist E. Jean Carroll in the 1990s. On May 9, Tuesday afternoon in the United States, the verdict was read in the Manhattan Federal Court, which states that Trump had sexually assaulted E. Jean Carroll in a New York City department store and then dismissed her story. Because this is a civil case, Trump will have no criminal consequences and may appeal, which means he will not have to pay the awarded damages as long as the verdict is challenged in court. Additionally, during the 7-day civil trial, Trump's legal team did not present a defense and gambled that the jurors would find Carroll failing to make a persuasive case. However, the 2005 Hollywood video in which Trump admitted doing exactly the things in the video bolstered Carroll and the other women who accused Trump of sexual assault. The jury also awarded Carroll about $5 million in compensatory and punitive damages. It is unknown if the verdict will have an effect on Trump's political chances, as he is still the early front-runner for the Republican nomination in 2024. Meanwhile, the former president is dealing with a range of other legal problems, including an investigation by the Justice Department into his alleged mishandling of classified documents. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, William.
Thank you, Elsie. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. Okta Research announced that the positivity rate in the country will not exceed 25%, even if the daily average cases increase in the next few weeks. Meanwhile, the DOH advised the public to stay vigilant despite the WHO's lifting of the public health emergency. Bernadette Tinoy will tell us why.
Positivity rate in the country will not exceed to 25%, even if it peaks next week, according to Okta Research. According to Professor Guido David, positivity rate today reached 23%.
Even though yung WHO declared there's emergency and there's chance na bababa rin siya. So yung positivity rate sa mga riding at the positivity verification line. So there's a chance na hindi na natin upload ang 25 po.
David added that case of Arcturus variant remained only one amid the limited genome sequencing in the country.
Genome sequencing natin is very limited at this time. Meron tayong one na detect officially sa province sa Western Science at sa Indonesia. Pero that genome sequencing was feasible by people.
Meanwhile, the Department of Health, or DOH, said the public should be vigilant even if the WHO, or World Health Organization, lifted the public health emergency.
So even though the WHO has already lifted the public health emergency of international concern status, hindi po nila sinabing tapos na ang pandemya. Kaya gusto ho natin paalalahanan ng ating mga kababayan na even though the public health emergency of international concern has been lifted, we cannot be complacent at this point.
The agency reports that daily average cases rose to 112%. In Quezon City, the daily average cases also increased from 3 cases last March to 140 cases a day.
Ang average lang natin ay 3, no? So 3 lang. Yung pagtaas ay nanggaling after nung magkaroon tayo ng mga long weekends. Ang Quezon City ay meron ng daily average cases na 140. So kada araw may average tayo ng mga 140 nagpa-positive. Ang positivity rate natin ay nasa 24%, no?
DOH, Okta, and QC local government unit then advised the public to still follow the use of face masks, minimum health protocols, and to be vaccinated. Bernadette Tinoy, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Bureau of Internal Revenue, or BIR, announced a historic feat in reaching the collection goal for January, February, March, and April of this year. According to BIR Commissioner Romeo Lumagi Jr., in the last 30 years, the reach for collection goals has been done a handful of times. Lumagi reiterates that the collection record has been done due to addressing intensification and enforcement activities, taxpayer service and integrity, and professionals. And in line with the 111th founding anniversary of the Land Transportation Officer LTO, the agency will provide free theoretical driving courses or TDC to pre-registered student driver applicants. The free TDC will be provided by the LTO from May 11 to May 12. LTO Chief Assistant Secretary J.R. Togadi explains that the program aims to offer opportunities for economically disadvantaged Filipinos to apply for a student permit. The agency said the launch of nationwide complementary TDC serves as a catalyst for the rollout of free TDCs at all regional offices on a monthly basis. In other news, the Laguna Lake Development Authority is preparing for the potential impact of El Nino on the largest lake in the country. Aquaculture and domestic water production are among the sectors that may face challenges. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
Around 80% of tilapia and milkfish supply for Metro Manila comes from Laguna Lake, according to the Laguna Lake Development Authority or LLDA. Engineer June Paul Mistica, Department Manager 3, stated that fish ponds and fish cages occupy 10% of the lake's 90,000 hectare area. The official warns that if the dry weather is worsened by El Nino, fish kill incidents may occur due to the proliferation of blue-green algae caused by insufficient oxygen levels.
Nagkakaroon ng fish kill kasi ang nagdidepend sa oxygen ay yung isda rin at saka itong pagkabulok ng blue-green algae. So yun ang isang malaking threat.
The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BIFAR, mentioned that they will continue to coordinate with fish pond owners to prevent fish kill.
So huwag po tayo mag-overstocking kasi nandiyan na nga, may pinapagamba na tayong pagtaas ng temperatura, may algal bloom, tapos yung paghuhulog pa natin ng similya sa ating mga fish cages at fish ponds ay sobra-sobra, mas magre-resulta ito doon sa pag-aggravate ng situation at posible na magkaroon ng fish mortality.
If the fish supply from Laguna Lakes is affected, BIFAR can source it from Taal Lake and farms in northern and central Luzon. LLDA noted that fish kill usually occurs in the western section of the lake and they plan to deploy solar paddles to prevent algae formation. Additionally, algal bloom may also impact the production of domestic water for Metro Manila, but measures have been implemented by Maynilad to prevent it. The Putatan treatment plant supplies water to the southern portion of Metro Manila and parts of Cavite.
Some of these include yung ating pag-install ng ilang units kapit sa ultrasonics, algae control equipment sa iba-ibang bahagi ng Laguna Lake. Ang purpose ng equipment nito ay ma-monitor at ma-manage yung pagdami ng algae concentrations in portions of Laguna Lake.
LLDA assures that even with the presence of El Nino, the water supply from Laguna Lake is still sufficient. The agency has already replanted nearly 400 hectares of its watershed, which can hold 5 billion liters of water. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Disqualified Legazpi City Albay Mayor Carmen Geraldine Rosal failed to secure a temporary restraining order or TRO from the Supreme Court. Hence, her disqualification is already final and executory starting today. But Rosal remains optimistic that the Supreme Court will intervene in this case. The Lady Mayor was disqualified from the post for the alleged vote buying.
Again, I reiterate, how can I be disqualified by Comelec and Bank for vote buying when this was dismissed by the Comelec division and such issue was not brought to the Comelec and Bank?
The ship carrying the equipment to be used for siphoning the remaining oil from the sunken empty Princess Empress in Oriental Mindoro is expected to arrive in the country next month. In a text message from Oriental Mindoro Governor Humer Lito Dolor to UNTV, he stated that the mobilization of ships from their country of origin will take approximately a month. Upon the ship's arrival, the siphoning of the remaining oil will begin immediately, resolving the oil spill problem in the area. Meanwhile, Claims Caravan has already collected over 3,200 claims from affected residents of the oil spill, most of whom are fishermen, fish vendors, and from the tourism industry.
We are expecting that by the first week of June, makapagsimula na silang mag-siphon noon. Hopefully by the time, tuloy-tuloy na po ito hanggang matapos natin yung problema.
Former Prime Minister Imran Khan's arrest in connection with a corruption case has sparked protests across multiple cities in Pakistan, with thousands of his supporters taking to the streets to demand his release. The demonstrations were met with tear gas and water cannons from police trying to quell the unrest, while one worker from Khan's party was reportedly killed in Kera. Khan's arrest has sparked outrage among his supporters, with the former prime minister releasing a pre-recorded video urging his followers to come out in support of true freedom. The arrest followed months of political crisis and came hours after the country's powerful military rebuked the former international cricket player for alleging that a senior officer had been involved in a plot to kill him. In Islamabad, activists from the political party Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf or PTI blocked the main Kashmir highway, causing traffic on either side to be suspended. Local agencies reported that police have arrested over a dozen PTI workers after the two sides clashed at several points in the city. In Lahore, protesters gathered outside the former Prime Minister's Zaman Park residence and blocked the adjacent roads by burning tires. Police was forced to use water cannons to disperse the protesters. In Karachi, PTI supporters gathered outside the local party office located along the city's busiest Shara-e-Faisal Road, with both tracks of the road near the PTI office being closed to traffic. Police also hurled tear gas canisters to disperse the protesters. Pakistan is currently facing an economic and political crisis, with Khan pressuring the struggling coalition government for an early election. In other news, inspections of outbound vessels have resumed under the Black Sea grain deal, allowing safe export of Ukrainian grain. Moscow had previously threatened to quit the deal. Russia has stated that unless a list of demands is met to remove obstacles hindering their own exports of grain and fertilizer, they will not extend the pact beyond May 18. Their exports are not subject to the sanctions imposed by the West since the start of their invasion of Ukraine. However, Moscow now claims that payment, logistics, and insurance restrictions are a barrier to shipments. Senior officials are scheduled to meet in Istanbul this week for talks described as positive by Turkish Defense Minister Hulusi Akar. The United Nations and Turkey brokered the agreement between Russia and Ukraine in July of last year to address a global food crisis that worsened after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Elsie Marcos, live from Auckland, New Zealand. Good evening.
As the Senate continues its probe into the Degamos, Slay, and Negros killings, police and military forces support the proposed postponement of village polls in the province. Harleen Delgado will tell us why.
The regional heads of the police and the military expressed support on the proposal to suspend the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan Elections or BSKE in Negros Oriental in October. This as the Senate Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs conducted its fourth hearing on the assassination of Negros Oriental Governor Ruel Degamo and cases of killings in the province.
Para at least, sir, the concentration po, sir, yung agam-agam po, sir, ng community sa Negros Oriental is mawala po. Yung full force po ng Region 7, sir, po is kung na-postpone, makakapag-concentrate po kami sa Region 7.
Mas maganda po sana, sir, yung may postponement so that we can also request for additional forces coming from the other areas para po mapantayan talaga natin itong 557 barangays na maging peaceful po yung pag-conduct ng barangay election.
The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, is also supportive of the proposal. However, COMELEC chairperson George Irwin Garcia raised some potential issues involving the grounds for postponement and the tenure of barangay officials.
Kung sakali po ipopostpone namin ng barangay and SK elections, paano po yung mga barangay officials doon? Yung pong holdover capacity, hindi po wala po sa kapangyarihan ng Commission on Election. Yung pong status ng mga officials presently holding the position ng barangay at SK doon sa lugar. And that should be properly taken care of by the law.
Despite this, Garcia says they will conduct a hearing in all villages in the province to determine whether they support the proposed postponement. He adds the COMELEC will have a command conference with the Philippine National Police and the Armed Forces of the Philippines to prioritize the situation in Negros Oriental. Meanwhile, a police officer denies that he was the alleged bagman of suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnie Teves Jr. Police Captain Alan Hermodo was accused of distributing gambling money from the lawmaker to police officers.
Kasi sir, as team leader sir, maghingi naman ako ng pira kay yung para for operational expenses sir. So kailangan po kami ng may bus money, pang informant sir, ganun sir. So hingi po talaga ako ng tulong sa provincial director namin sir. Hindi po ako tao ng mga TV sir. Taong bayan po ang pinagsisilbihan ko. Yung sinabi ni Mayor Fritz sir na bagman po ako sir, hindi po yung totoo sir.
Magpa-double blind survey tayo doon, sir. Walang pangalan. Lahat ng polis ng Negros Oriental. Kung totoo bang bagman sila, 100% sir. Manalo yung magsabi na polis na bagman ito. Kasi yung pera nga din-deliver niya, tinatapyasan pa niya. Yun ang information ng mga polis doon, mga hipi. Sir?
Kanina pera yun? Galing kanina?
Galing kay Arne, patungo kay Tokoy.
The Senate panel will continue its hearing on Thursday, May 11. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Food spoilage is the process that leads to a product becoming undesirable or unacceptable for human consumption. It is associated with changes involving alterations in taste, smell, appearance, and/or texture. According to registered nutritionist dietitian Beatrix Mercado, food spoilage can be avoided by following correct procedures in preparing and cooking food. Mercado added that the body should be clean, especially the hands, to minimize the risk of cross-contamination.
Kailangan, pinaka-importante, maghugas ng kamay. 20 seconds kasi once nakapaghugas na tayo ng kamay, malinis ang kamay, less na yung germ exposure sa mismong pagkain. At make sure lang na pagkakain, dahil sobrang init ngayon, i-rest na agad ang mga pagkain para maiwasan din ang panis at iwasan din ang pag-develop ng mga germs sa pagkain.
Leftover food should also be placed in a clean container and stored in a cold environment to prevent immediate spoilage and avoid food poisoning.
One way then to avoid spoilage is kailangan lagi na separate containers as much as possible ang mga pagkain. Huwag natin paghahaluin ang gulay, kanin. Kung gulay lang. Kung kanin lang. Ang importante kung may ulam, ihiwalay din. And maximum time of food na wala sa ref is 2 hours. Kasi more than that, mas may mataas ng risk for food spoilage and for food, doon din na din mas madedevelop ang mga foodborne illnesses.
our kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word giving glory to God from the book of Ephesians chapter 5 verse 2. It says, "And walk in love as Christ also hath loved us, and hath given himself for us an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet-smelling savor." And those are the reasons behind the news May 10, 2023 reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
So yes, I'll bring it up again because when we talk about the issues in the West Philippine Sea, South China Sea, hindi magkakalma yan hanggang meron na tayong code of conduct.
Siyempre, travel document. Then he will have to rely on another travel document that will allow him passage to ports of entry and exit throughout the world. But effectively, the passports are cancelled when there is already a court case. So we will wait for the cases to be filed before our courts by the prosecutors, by the panel of prosecutors, before we seek for the cancellation of the passport.
Even though yung WHO declared there's emergency and there's chance na bababa rin siya. So yung positivity rate sa mga driving at the positive verification line. So there's a chance na hindi na natin upload the amplified book. Silang sequencing natin is very limited at this time. Meron tayong one na detect officially fraud sa Western science at sa Indonesia. Pero that kingdom shipping team was conducted by the people.
Para at least sir, the concentration po sir, yung agam-agam po sir ng community sa Negros Oriental is mawala po. Yung full force po ng Region 7 sir po is kung na-postpone, makakapag-concentrate po kami sa Region 7.
Mas maganda po sana sir yung may postponement so that we can also request for additional forces coming from the other areas para po mapantayan talaga natin itong 557 barangays na maging peaceful po yung pag-conduct ng barangay election.
Kung sakali po ipopostpone namin ng barangay and SK elections, paano po yung mga barangay officials doon? Yung pong holdover capacity, wala po sa kapangyarihan ng Commission ng Election. Yung pong status ng mga officials presently holding the position ng barangay at SK doon sa lugar. And that should be properly taken care of by the law.